MCU isn't alien to the concept of complete annihilation. At this point, I think the people there are immune to alien threats and supervillain attacks. The universe has been saved more than once and almost threatened again immediately. These threats are usually dealt by the Avengers and their allies, but who saves the day-to-day lives of the citizens? This leads us to our question: why do street-level superheroes feel more real than the rest? If I told you there was a real devil of Hell's Kitchen or there was a Punisher running around your city, the chances of you believing it is true is remarkably more than you believing that Loki came to Earth with a glowy stick. The heroes of Marvel have saved the multiverse from doom, and in this video we'll explore what makes us feel close to the more grounded street superheroes. Matthew's story starts off with him trying to be a lawyer by day and vigilante by night. Simple, right? What makes him special are his heightened senses and him being the only blind superhero in the comic book adaptation arena. And what makes him dear to the audience is the way his character is slowly built and the way the story is designed to be close to heart rather than have unrealistic high stakes. Every time Daredevil encounters a villain, his life as Matt Murdock is affected, and everyone he knows and loves will be in harm's way. He tries his best to adhere to his life's principles and at the same time protect Hell's Kitchen and its citizens. What makes a big influence is how the conflict rarely crosses the border of Hell's Kitchen. Every storyline starts and ends at the same location, providing continuity in the story and also making the characters feel familiar and keeping the viewers hooked. Lest I forget, a hero can only get as good as the villain lets him be. Wilson Fisk is such a phenomenal villain to exist. Come on now, every one of us has an idea of a real-life Wilson Fisk, who gets away with practically everything he does. He has aides, he has connection, he has knowledge on how to talk to people to convince them to be on his side. And he practically destroyed Matthew's personal life every time they fought. The Daredevil series shows the world for what it is: gritty, violent, bloodthirsty, and unforgivable. It was New York unfiltered. Anyway, that's what makes it feel real, isn't it? As stated by Wikipedia, the first season sees lawyer by day, Matt Murdock, use his heightened senses from being blinded as a young boy to fight crime at night on the streets of New York's Hell's Kitchen. Time to state my opinion on it. The first season is all about Matt questioning the system of justice. Failing to save innocent people at Landman and Zack, Matt decides to start Nelson and Murdock. Spoiler alert, he's also a vigilante, the devil of Hell's Kitchen. He has been helping hundreds of people in Hell's Kitchen without any title or recognition. In the world where the Avengers were just created, people won't give much attention to a normal vigilante now, would they? Stephen DeKnight notes he's lawyer by day and he's taken an oath, but every night he breaks the oath, goes out and does very violent things when talking about Matthew's grey morals. Let's put it this way, he's good at heart, his intentions are good, but the way he does it, highly questionable. He believes the court is the ultimate solution for the problems of his home. He does believe that the system needs an occasional nudge in the right direction every now and then. But he ends up imprisoning Fisk and not killing him at the end. This part of his personality that gives people second chances and sees good in everyone makes him special. And Matt, being Matt, has his doubts regarding his methods. Being Catholic, he questions if the route he adapted to fight crime is right, or is it just some thirst for violence. As always, he goes to Father Lantom for answers, trying to find his way through religion and justice at the same time. In this part, Father Lantom is right. The devil in him is also a gift from God that Matt has to use to protect the innocent in ways in which the law fails. This is also the reason he never kills. He disables them and make sure they won't be repeating crimes. This is a very important part of his personality as Matt Murdock that shines even through the Daredevil suit. Episode 10 was a pivot in the story. Foggy finds out the hidden identity of Matt after his fight with Nobu. Nelson vs. Murdock is a pretty big fallout between the two, and Foggy straight up leaves the firm. The way Matt breaks down after Foggy confronts him just holds a mirror to how much Foggy is important to Matt. They reconcile in the season finale over the case of Wilson Fisk, but it does take a while for him to come to terms with his new identity. Overall, in the first season, Matthew questioned the justice system for its efficiency. He questions his profession in itself and finally settles in a battle between Daredevil and Matthew Murdock. There is goodness in everyone, and no criminal is beyond redemption. This sums up Matthew. We've established that by now. What if he's challenged by someone who believes that death is the only proper punishment, who believes in an eye for an eye? This story is enticing. We get the Punisher, who took the law completely into his hands, a throwback to season 1 Matthew, if I might say. But in this season, Matt questions his past, his mentor, and also his morals to a significant extent. After getting stuck in the trap set by Reyes, Daredevil becomes a hostage of the Punisher and has a conversation with him which further deepens the conflict of the season. Frank insists that what he does is necessary, that by murdering criminals, he stops them from doing wrong ever again, while Daredevil merely delays the inevitable by injuring them. Further in the story, when the Punisher lets himself get arrested, Matt decides to give Mahoney the credit of the arrest. He wants to restore the faith of the people in the police and prevent them from rallying around vigilante justice. This makes sense in a lot of ways. After the emergence of Daredevil in Hell's Kitchen, the number of villains coming out of the dark has also increased, and since he's been helping the police solve more than half the bigger problems, the public would definitely trust him more than the police or the court. Then we are introduced to Elektra Nachios, another vigilante who is a part of Matt's past. As they fight the Yakuza, we get to see their story about how Matt refused to kill Roscoe Sweeney to avenge his father, which led to their breakup. In contrast to Frank, Elektra represented the part of Matthew that thrived on and loved chaos. Rather than making him defend his civilian life and the law, her influence caused him to view his life as Matthew Murdoch, including his law firm, his friends Foggy and Karen, and his professional duties as a burden. Under her sway, he began missing court dates and lying habitually, which ultimately led to the shuttering of his law firm and the total collapse of his civilian identity. His obsession with her was so profound that he later chose to stay behind and die alongside her in Defenders rather than live in the light as a broken man. At the end of season 2, the apparent death of Elektra changes Matt. He decides to reveal his identity to Karen and come clean about all previous explanations he gave about the missing court dates and everything. Throughout the series, Matthew has always questioned everything. He never defied anything. He walked the line and kept believing that his morals and ideals will one day lead to his goal. After he lost Elektra, Matthew was a changed man. He gave up on his life as Matthew and became Daredevil full-time. Escaping from the debris at Midland Circle, Matt reaches out to Father Lantom and his orphanage for medical help. But we soon discover Matt has given up on his faith. He comes to think that God abandoned him. Anyone who has been through what he experienced would say that. But Matthew Murdoch, and it does not help that Father Lantom decides to reveal Sister Maggie's true identity to him at that point. Matt feels betrayal. He feels let down and helpless. He adopts the philosophy that a blind man is the only one who sees the world for what it is. He lets Foggy and Karen believe that he is dead. He returns to the black suit. He completely abandons his moral code and starts to do things in the way that was closer to Elektra's and Punisher's ideology. He infiltrates the jail just to reach Fisk and escapes from the place barely alive. Between all this mess, Matthew also has to struggle with the damage to Daredevil's reputation brought by Benjamin Poindexter, dressed up in his red suit. In the final showdown between Matt, Fisk, and Ben, it's a three-way war. Poindexter represents the version that Matt has been avoiding from becoming all along. Fisk is the corruption he's been trying to fight the whole time. In the end, Matt chooses to let Fisk walk away alive, but held by the law. He also refrains from killing Ben, who is left mutilated. Again, this circles back to Matt's philosophy of not killing people and giving them second chances. This time, for added measure, Matt makes sure Fisk will have a reason to stay in prison by putting Vanessa's safety on the table as the stake.
And you will live the rest of your miserable life in a cage, knowing you'll never have Vanessa. That this city rejected you. I beat you!
Even if Matt vowed to kill Fisk earlier in the series, he never crossed the line. He hands him over to the law, clears his name as both Matthew Murdoch and Daredevil, and restarts his normal life with Nelson Murdoch and Paige. This rolls us back to our original question. Why do street-level superheroes feel more real than the rest? It's all in the way their story flows. No magic, no super science intervention, just a man and his will to make his neighborhood a better place for everyone. All in all, a hero can be in any form. He doesn't always wear a sparkly suit and fly in the sky. He might be the blind lawyer you helped cross the road. This is the story of Matthew Murdoch, the man without fear who refused to give up, the lawyer who broke the law, and the Catholic who played the devil every day. And not to forget, stay tuned for more Marvel content.